Before all of that, though, our first guest is on a mission to achieve the body of her dreams, even if that means risking her own life.
At just 30 years old, Scarlett has undergone 4 Brazilian butt lifts, the world's most dangerous cosmetic procedure.
And as her dramatic transformation is laid bare in Olivia Attwood's new documentary, The Price of Perfection, she's joined us now alongside Dr Zoe. Good morning to all you. Scarlett, thank you for coming in.
Good morning.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Good morning.
It's an extraordinary thing for us to look at. You're 30, you're gorgeous, you're lovely, and clearly you have... I think it's probably an addiction to trying to find a way to create the perfect body in your mind. When did you start on this sort of cosmetic challenge journey?
Well, my first surgery that I had, I think I was 20 years old. I had my boobs done, and obviously I had that done, and I thought, oh, that was nice. So then I went and had my nose done, and then the BBLs started, I think 5 years ago, I had my first one. And then I've kind of, like, tried to have one every year. I did skip a year, but, yeah, so I've had 4 altogether now.
And, Scarlett, what were you like when you were a little girl? What did you look like, and what was your appearance like? And what do you think it was that made you go, I'm not enough as I am, I want to be different?
I think I was always kind of on the curvier side. I was never, like, that skinny. And I think I thought to myself, you know what, if I'm going to be curvy, let's be really curvy or something, you know, let's make the most of it, and let's kind of, like, you know, see if I can, you know, have some stuff done. So I am kind of happy with how I look.
And was that a really kind of personal choice that you made in your own mind, or were you influenced by social media or by fashion or by magazines? What was it that influenced you?
I mean, of course, social media obviously is a big thing. Obviously, celebrities, you see, like, the Kardashians having everything done and you think, oh, I want to look like them, don't you? So it definitely does influence how you think, seeing everybody else get these things done. And, you know, you don't want people on the internet, you know, calling you fat or something. Like, I get that all the time, but...
You get that all the time?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I've had 4 rounds of lipo and they still call me fat, so you can't win, can you?
But do you find it easy to ignore that sort of comment because you're looking after yourself and you're doing what you want to do, or is that one of the reasons that you feel like you're constantly searching for something more? No,
to be honest, they don't bother me, because at the end of the day, I'm happy with how I look. I get these things done for me. I don't get them done for anybody else. So, like, no matter how many things I could have done, people would still have stuff to say, so...
Kat makes an interesting question about what you were like as a little girl, because, of course, you have a family, you have a mum, parents that I'm sure have their own feelings about this. What does your mum make of the fact that you're putting yourself through this, particularly this most really dangerous procedure, which is the Brazilian butt lift?
Well, of course, everybody was like, no, don't get it done, please don't get it done. Like, obviously, it's really dangerous, and they were worried, but I think they knew that I was going to do it anyway. Like, once I got my mind set to something, I'm going to do it. So, yeah, I don't think anybody was really that happy that I was getting it done, but I think they're just glad that I'm happy now that I've had it done.
And how do they feel about the way you look compared to where you were as a young girl growing up as a teenager? I mean, yeah, it's probably sad to see that, you know, I wasn't happy with how I looked naturally. I can understand that completely. But at the end of the day, I'm a lot happier now that I've had everything done. So I think that's all that matters.
Because, I mean, it is a really risky surgery, actually. And obviously, those risks go up depending on where you choose to go and the surgeon you choose to use. And you actually got some... Didn't you get some burning from one of the operations?
So my first one, I got some lipo burns on the sides, which at the time I kind of just didn't realise that wasn't really the norm.
Sorry, that was your first one?
Yeah, that was my first round, so I didn't realise that kind of wasn't normal.
Right.
It was only when I've had, like, 3 more, I thought, oh, yeah, that weren't normal, I shouldn't have had that. But it is one of the complications and one of the risks that you kind of... You do know that could happen. Obviously, I took the risk, and I got those burns.
Did that not put you off, though? That would have put me off. I would have gone, you know what? I'm not sure about that. I'm not going to do that again, I don't
Well,
think.
I mean, they healed OK. Like, there's little scars and stuff, but at the end of the day, I knew the risks going in, and like I said, I thought it was normal.
Scarlett,
yeah.
Can you just explain the procedure as well? Because I think it's something that is quite hard to understand if you don't know what's gone into it.
So basically what they do is they lipo you first. So I have 360 lipo.
Which means they suck your fat out of your body, various bits of your body. Which bits of your body?
So I had stomach, upper back, lower back, arms, legs, double chins, literally like 360s, like everywhere, basically.
And the 360 is what makes that more dangerous, isn't it?
I think the dangerous part is when they inject it back into the bum. I think that's the dangerous part.
OK, so they take all this fat that they've sucked out of you.
Yeah, and then they kind of, like, get the purest fat out of it, and then they inject it back into the bum, and I think that's the part that's risky and dangerous because if they inject it into the wrong place, it can like block an artery or something.
Yeah, OK. And then the recovery. How long does it take before you can just move around normally?
Well, you can't sit down for 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
Yeah, you can't drive, you can't sit down. You have to just either stand up or lay down for 6 weeks straight. And then even after that, it's still, you know, another like 1 to 2 months kind of like before you can kind of do everything normal again.
Scarlett, in the show, obviously you'd gone down to theatre. You didn't meet your surgeon until 5 minutes before you went kind of down to theatre. And obviously you were in theatre, so you didn't see. But when I watched it, Olivia was really worried about you because you'd literally just had this conversation with the doctor and then the doctor didn't want her to go into the theatre all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So she was really worried about it. Did you do lots of research and things like that?
Yeah, so I'd done lots of research, but that is kind of normal. When you're having surgery abroad, you don't meet the surgeon until right before. Obviously, when you have a surgery in England, you kind of go up and you have a consultation, you meet them before, but where they're in another country, your consultation is just sending them photos online. So it's not until the day that they actually take a look at you and see, like, oh, are you actually suitable? And I think he did say, like, you have got a lot of scar tissue, because it was, like, obviously not my first time having it. So I think maybe that's why Olivia was concerned that she was, like, worried it wasn't going to all go OK.
The problem is, though, once you're in that position and you're in your gown and you're marked up, it's like, well, I'm here now, I might as well do it.
But you could back down if you wanted to.
Scarlett, you had to go abroad because you actually, no one would have given you the 4th butt lift over here, is that right?
I mean, I wouldn't have had it done in England anyway, because the surgeons in England like to do it very kind of natural, and that wasn't the kind of look that I wanted. When you go abroad, they do give you the more extreme look, so I didn't
So they'll take more, OK. So
I didn't even look at the UK surgeons.
Right.
Zoe, Scarlett's described the procedure, which sounds extraordinarily invasive, very, very dangerous. From a medical perspective, how do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, of all the cosmetic procedures out there, it does have the highest death rate. I think, you know, I'm not here to judge Scarlett, and you obviously knew the risks and you weighed up the benefits and the risks for you, and you felt that having that surgery fell on the side of benefit. You were willing to take that risk. And you could say the same about all cosmetic surgery. You know, we could judge and say, but, you know, you don't need it, so you shouldn't have it. But there's a whole industry there that isn't going anywhere. But I think that's exactly the key thing, is that people are aware of the risks and are they willing to take them. I do worry about people going abroad, though, for that reason, that they're not regulated in the same way. You know, we're very surgical techniques, as long as they're being done by a surgeon who's registered in the right way. They're very, very safe environments. They're very clean environments. You know, they have certain procedures in place, like, you know, even swabs that you use to, there's a count at the beginning, there's a count at the end, so you're making sure you're not leaving anything inside the body. My concerns about going abroad is that they don't necessarily have those same procedures and regulations, and also the follow-up care as well. So as you were saying, 6 weeks that you can't sit down, that's really difficult. Like, that's a really difficult period of your life, and I think a lot of people do need follow-up. They do need to be assessed. Infections are really common with this procedure as well. So, of course, the NHS will always look after people wherever they've had their surgery, but not having access to your surgeon to be assessed by them and examined by them is a concern as well. But, yeah, there's a whole range of possible dangerous side effects. The most important one that Scarlett mentioned is something called fat embolism. So when the fat is sucked out of the body in various different places, goes through a process of purification and then is injected into the butt. If it's injected into the muscle, it can accidentally go into a blood vessel. That fat can then travel to the heart and then travel to the lung and block the lung, and that causes pulmonary embolism, PE, which can be fatal. So that's the biggest concern. But the other concerns are about infection, tissue necrosis, so that's when tissue actually dies, so you can get hard, lumpy appearance from that. And I just think the impact that it has on your life, 6 weeks not being able to sit down.
Zoe, what were the burns? What's that?
So when they've taken the fat out of the body, they have to warm up the fat and separate the fat in order to suck it out into the tube. So purely the heat, the temperature that device has to go up to can potentially cause burns.
Scarlett, do you feel satisfied at the moment with how you're looking and what you've managed to create?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely satisfied, and that was my last round, so I'm not having any more.
Any more of anything or any more of...
I mean, nothing for a long time. I've got no plans at the minute.
And have you had any surgery or any procedures that you regret after having them done?
No, I haven't, to be fair. I've always had a good experience, but obviously I know that's not the same for everybody. Like, everyone has different experiences, but I've always had a very positive experience, which is why I was happy to, like, have it all filmed and everything, because it's nice to show, like, a different side, because you always hear, like, these horror stories. I thought it's nice just to show, like, a positive experience as well.
Well, Olivia is brilliant at doing the show. She's absolutely brilliant. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Zoe. Thank you. And Olivia Attwood's The Price of Perfection starts tonight at 10:05 on ITV2 and ITVX. I had to watch some of it behind my pillow there.
Yes, it is pretty graphic, isn't it?
There was quite a lot going on in certain
Thank you for
visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.